They raised their glasses like it was a celebration, but it felt like a funeral. My funeral. At this time, my father announced, voice booming with pride, "We've decided to gift our entire estate, $2.5 million, to our son." Applause, laughter, clinking glasses. Then silence. Every head turned to me. My mother's smile thinned into a blade. "As for you," she said, eyes narrowing, "you're a failure. Handle your own life." The air shifted, my chest burned. But I didn't break. I didn't argue. I just sat still, hands folded, letting their judgment hang heavy. Then my grandmother stood, slowly, deliberately. "Now," she said, her voice cutting through the room, "it's my turn." No one saw what came next. Backstory. I used to believe in them, my parents. As a child, I hung on their every word, thinking their approval was love. But love, I learned, was conditional. Daniel was the golden boy, the chosen one. Perfect grades, perfect job, perfect smile for family photos. I was the shadow, the afterthought. No matter what I achieved, it was never enough. When I built my own small business, they dismissed it. When I struggled and rose again, they ignored it. All the while, Daniel lived off their handouts, his failures polished into excuses. I thought I'd grown numb. Until that night. Until they stood there, in front of everyone, and carved me out of the family with one cruel sentence. Discovery. I should have been destroyed. But humiliation has a strange effect. It clears the fog. In their eyes, Daniel was flawless. But I knew the cracks. I noticed the missed payments on his shiny new car, the unopened bills on his kitchen counter, the whispered arguments between him and his fiancée about investments gone wrong. And then, the undeniable evidence. A late-night call from one of my old contacts in finance. Daniel had borrowed heavily under my father's name, funneling money into reckless trades. Millions already bleeding away. The golden boy wasn't golden. He was rusting from the inside out. Shift in mindset. I didn't confront him. I didn't run to my parents. No. Why warn the wolves when you can lead them to their own trap? I began collecting, quietly. Bank statements, trade receipts, emails he'd carelessly left logged in. Every mistake, every reckless gamble, I filed it away. Meanwhile, I kept my mask on. The quiet, failed sibling, the one who couldn't manage their own life. Let them think I was weak. Let them laugh. It made the silence sharper when I moved. Execution of the plan. Step 1, I contacted grandmother. Not with anger, with truth. She always watched in silence, letting the family war play out like theater. But I knew something others didn't. Her will wasn't bound to my parents' decisions. She controlled her own fortune. And she hated arrogance. I handed her the evidence, not with pleading, but with precision. Daniel's debts, his forged signatures, his collapsing investments. She said nothing for a long time. Then she nodded once. I knew I had her. Step 2, I secured my future. I met with her attorney, drew up documents, structured my business to be acquisition ready. When the time came, I wouldn't just be defended, I'd be elevated. Climax. Which brings us back to that night, the party, the announcement, my parents' cruelty, and my grandmother rising slowly with her cane, the room falling silent around her. "My son, my daughter-in-law," she said, staring at my parents with ice in her eyes, "you may give your wealth to Daniel. That is your choice. But as for my estate," She paused, letting the silence thicken until even Daniel shifted uncomfortably. It goes entirely to Sarah. The room froze. Gasps. My mother's hand tightened around her wine glass until it cracked. Daniel's face flushed red, panic flickering in his eyes. And then, like the perfect encore, my grandmother turned to him. "I know what you've done with the money, the debts, the fraud, the shame you've hidden. It ends tonight." The crowd erupted into whispers. Daniel stammered, "That's not—" But his fiancée stepped back, face pale. She already knew. My parents sputtered, but it was useless. Grandmother had spoken. And in that moment, the empire they built on favoritism collapsed. Resolution. Later, I stood alone on the balcony, the noise of the party fading behind me. I looked out at the night sky, the city lights shimmering like promises. 12 years of being overlooked, dismissed, humiliated, gone with a single revelation. My parents gave Daniel everything, thinking he was their legacy. But in truth, their legacy was me, the child they tried to erase, who rose sharper because of it. I didn't need their approval. I never did. When grandmother's fortune transferred, my business would expand, stronger than ever. And Daniel? He'd drown in the mess he created. I sipped my drink, calm. They called me a failure.